Anybody want to take minutes? Looking down, anybody? You?
No ability.
All right, I'll be right
You
back.
can't run a meeting and take notes at the same time.
I'll try to keep it brief, Ray, how's that?
Like really brief.
That's not within your control.
It's not in my control, but anyways. All right, so on the agenda, the first order of business is approve the minutes of August 15th, 2022. Pete was good enough to send them around to everyone. Hopefully we had a chance to review them.
Well, there were two sets in there.
We did the 15th, but I wasn't sure that everybody had seen the 15th of July. So I just put those in there, but I think the only ones we need to move were because I believe we did these.
We had, the July
We
12th and the August 15th?
Yeah, we approved the July 12th meeting minutes at the August meeting.
Yep. Okay.
So just want to make sure that we can get the,
I'll move approval.
Second.
all right, further discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Unanimous. Great, thanks. Okay, so we can start with, well, let's first introduce our new town administrator. I think everybody's met Jen.
Hi, good
We've done
evening,
that.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank
through
you.
to the board, Jennifer Warren Diamond.
Thank you so much for joining us. And Faye is joining us as well. Everybody knows Faye at this point, right? I think so.
I was beginning to wonder, it's been a long time since we've seen you, and,
Me?
no, Jennifer, since the search committee and then the board selecting meeting.
Yes, these things can take some time to get to this point, but I'm excited to be here on my first day today.
That's great. Yeah, well, welcome aboard, and we're really glad to have you, so. I don't have a lot of these, but I think what we'll do is take, when I say I don't have a lot of these, just made a bunch of copies. What I tried to do was do a quick, oh, you already printed it out.
I got that.
Wow, you were ahead.
Well, I printed out a couple things I thought we were gonna actually need.
Yeah. So what I tried to do was just take a quick, down and dirty on the capital submissions to date, and I kind of emphasize to date because I don't know if we sometimes have a way of getting things after that prescribed window that we like to have them, so we can do some pretty good vetting. Anyways, so what we're looking at here is basically everything that was in that package.
Yep.
The totals just under $1.4 million. We're looking at the ambulance, which Chief Sadowski said was in need of the replacement and is looking to do that a year early with ambulance funds. I haven't checked with Leslie, but I believe there is sufficient balance, in that fund. But if you'll notice that there is we do have to make, I think, some adjustments along the way, because it seems like inflation is definitely striking at a lot of these items that are being requested. A lot of these are being requested in advance of their normal time, number one. And number two, they're coming in at prices that are significantly higher than what we had planned for in our capital plan. So that said, I mean, it just gives us a little bit more. Just want to point that out to you. I mean, Ray has done a lot of work, as have other committee members, in assembling this capital spreadsheet that I forwarded along to you. It's been a labor of love for the Finance Committee. The problem is it's just to maintain it outside of the purview of town operations is a little bit of a challenge to try to get, and again, with some new department heads coming through and everything. Ideally, I know when Nancy was here, we were talking about possibly having someone in her office take it over. Hey, wink, wink. Yeah, there you go. But that never happened, just because it was just kind of being discussed over the last year, and there were just other priorities. But it's just going to make it a little more challenging as we kind of go through and see some of these requests coming through with some pretty decent deltas. That said, the only one I met with, I did meet with Chief Sadowski. I think I mentioned that as more of an introductory than an actual, let's go over your capital items request. He did show me what he was doing, and that's why he said he was saying that he was looking for the ambulance in advance, looking for a chief's car, which we had kicked out. I think he kicked down the road the last time. All that being said, I think what I'd like to do is just kind of re-engage our, if time permits for everyone's schedule, re-engage our basic subcommittees to reach out and see what's really needed here. I know, Bill, you've been through the DPW.
Kevin reached out to me last week, and I kind of put him off until after this meeting, so I'm gonna follow up with him after
Okay.
your guidance and instruction tonight.
And then Pete, I think, is with you, right? I think he runs with you. Or did he run with you the last time? No, he was public safety. Okay, never mind. It was you and Jim Marinelli. I don't know if Jim's,
Yeah, Jim.
yeah.
Well, I've done it on and off with different people.
With different people.
Going on 10 years, so.
Okay, so that,
Not to me.
you're the DPW guy, so you can kind of get an idea. And I guess one of the things that just rises up when I'm looking at some of these requests, and, you know, a lot of them are in advance of their scheduled replacement date. And again, a lot of it is due to deterioration of the vehicles, and we see it over and over and over again. I don't see anywhere on there a request for the ability to rinse off these vehicles after,
Well, the problem is, and we've gone over this, you know, with different directors, and the building itself is not sufficient for what we need in 2022, never mind 1990. And if we were to do it, to clean these vehicles, it would have to be done outside. At some point, we'll have to revisit replacing the building, but, I mean, you're talking major money.
well, he's got major money in there this time too for replacing the,
Well, that truck there is deplorable.
no, but he's looking for the pavement too.
Well, that's, you know,
I mean, that's,
I'm
granted,
surprised to see that on this list, but that parking lot is
Yeah.
atrocious,
yeah,
you know.
but,
To your point, you're right, I can't argue with you, you're right 100%, the vehicles aren't cleaned properly. Is it entirely the fault of the DPW? I don't think so.
well, that might just, but no, I'm not saying it is their fault, but that just might be a discussion to have with Kevin. I mean, he's the new guy.
I'll bring it up
and-
again
and
and
just
we'll
say-
kick it around.
And again, I'm just throwing this out for discussion, but, you know, in the context of redoing the site,
Right, is that?
is that, is that something that could be incorporated? I mean, I don't know, I'm just thinking, would that do anything to extend the lives of these things? Because these are some pretty big buys. I mean, we just bought one last year for, you know, a couple $100,000 as well.
There's no doubt, and they're going up. And
Yeah.
I question why, not to get ahead, but I question why the bridges are the one that should be state chapter 90 or something, right?
Well, that's what I put on there, but again, that's for discussion, so we can have that discussion too, but, I mean, let's bring it all out, so, I mean, not in any order, but,
But while we're still back on the trucks and the equipment, I'd still like to know if they've looked into mobile power washing for these. There are companies out there that travel around and clean construction equipment, dump
Right.
trucks, sanders. They do that. They show up on site with a truck and they blast everything clean.
I'll add that to my list.
Yeah, Bill, I guess from my perspective, I'd love to understand why there seems to be so much resistance.
To cleaning it?
I personally brought this up as a priority item for 6 years.
And there's no question, and I have too on and off, but if you go down to that site, so the trucks right now are wall to wall in those garage spaces. You can't even move in there. And then the garage they have in back, the two trucks are in there, the mechanic can barely fit in there to work, there's no room. I mean, you're dealing with a garage that was built, what, 80 years ago? For a truck, for a regular sized pickup truck. You have these, that I would call like deuce and a half, so they're just too small. You know? And the one real big bay, they keep that giant excavator in there, with the bucket on it. We bought that a couple of years ago, that was like 300 grand or 250 grand. I think
Yes.
overall, the big problem is the building. And I don't wanna start.
Well, the big problem is a lack of plan. I mean,
Well, that's West
if there's no
Boylston
plan,
now.
there's no plan.
That's been the town historically. But if you drive around, which I've done, and visit any DPW compared to this one, it's- we're years away from where it was, even smaller towns.
But some of the equipment that we've looked at down there,
It's all rusted out.
yeah, but when you look at it inside the cab and it's full of dirt and salt and sand, you can take a garden hose.
And I agree with you there, you can't leave salt on anything. You leave
No,
salt
yeah.
on anything, it will eat the floor out of a truck
Now, They
in one season.
they could hose those things out outside, put them back in the bin.
So, maybe this is a communications issue. I gotta say, I have pretty negative reaction to spending $300K on a parking lot when they can't clean the trucks.
Well,
I mean, how does that make
You're not gonna
financial
get any
sense?
pushback on me on that one, because towards Chris's point, you put a parking lot in, then you decide to put a building in, 3 years from now, you rip the parking lot out.
Right, or do substantial damage to it, that's, well, again, all right, so I guess that's kind of where I mean, this is a lot, I mean, I was expecting a couple of things from the
It always
just,
happens,
I mean, yeah.
twice a year, we arm wrestle over this.
Well, yeah, and I'm not saying that it's not necessary, I just want to, I mean, I guess the purpose of this meeting, Bill, everybody is like, we have a process, what questions are we gonna ask these guys? I mean, and that's,
And there's no question about it, I'm on your team with it.
Yeah.
But the other point of interest in here too is, when you don't order these big pieces of equipment, it's not like 3 years ago where you can go to a
Right.
lot and write a check and drive
yeah,
away with it.
understand, yeah,
When you need this piece of equipment, you need to order it now.
okay,
You
yeah,
might not get it for a year.
yep,
So you have to
Absolutely
factor in, if you read the red lines on this replace truck number 2 in your original email,
yeah,
the amount of time that they have working on this truck because it's failing versus the amount of time that it's down,
yep,
what's the value there?
yep,
So that's my argument. When
Well-
you're just putting Band-Aids on this thing over and over again.
absolutely right, no, yeah,
But to Ray's point, he's right, that they should be cleaned better. No argument for me there.
So the truck that's on here, that had the fire and that they're having issues with, did we have this as a priority from years past? I don't remember hearing anything about a fire in the truck. That was news.
that was news.
I don't remember reading that line.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yeah.
may. In speaking with the DPW director today, he said that there are 3 vehicles, all in years '05 and '06, that are needing to be replaced. The thought is that the one that had the fire will most likely be the worst at the time when the new vehicle comes in, and that would be the one that comes offline. However, it might be one of the other vehicles that something may happen to that now becomes the worst of those 3. So it's really just getting one to replace one of the 3. Maybe this one, as it stands right now, it would be this one. When that vehicle comes in, that may change.
Okay, I find that a little confusing. I thought this was the 4th truck that we were talking about, not one of the 3.
No, it'd be replacing one of the 3.
One of the 3.
He's done a good job in his detail, those notes right there, that you're reading. He's done a good job in putting that together.
So he's not saying there's any change in the plan, he's just saying he wants to buy it now because it's gonna take so long to deliver.
Yeah, take forever.
But yeah, the first couple of times I read this, it sounded like there was a 4th vehicle.
Years ago, we offered dating it, we did at one time operate with 4 heavy trucks. We've been operating for the last couple of years with 3.
So, one thing I would want to see, and if it's really taking that much maintenance, I'd love to see some numbers. And how much is it actually costing us? If it's a lot of work and the answer is it's $5,000 versus $50,000, that's a very different discussion.
So what, like maintenance records for the last 12 months, Ray, or 6 months?
I
It's
would
probably-
say just to get the annuals from the last 2 years, gives us some trending information, whether it's level or going up or doing
Got it.
something else.
I got it.
Okay. And the other thing is, I don't know, I didn't go back and check all my prior folders, but I do know, I had a tough time finding this on our capital spreadsheet, so I don't know if, I know he talks about his capital spreadsheet, Kevin, so maybe we could get a copy of Kevin's, just an
Yeah,
updated,
I'll do
whatever
that
he's
too.
got, just so we can kind of have, you know, apples and apples instead
And
of,
I'll have him highlight these in order of need, right?
yeah, he did, I think
I
like the,
already here.
yeah, like, well, like the.
Priority, I should
Yeah,
say.
he does give priorities on these too. But he's just looking to get this in, I think, in the Orderman. And I know, Jennifer, I think you were on the email, just to kind of put everybody at ease too, from a spending standpoint. Leslie was kind enough to send over an email today, late this afternoon, to let us know that, I guess there's a fire truck, debt, not a debt exclusion, but just a piece of debt that's rolling off next year that will make room for another $500,000 at no additional cost. I mean, so it's, in other words, if we were to continue to roll that along.
Free
so-
trucks.
Free,
Free
tr-
trucks.
well, yeah, well, no additional cost over what the current cost is to the taxpayers, that's all, yeah, so.
Taxpayers never thought that they'd get a reduction.
Oh, no, come on, please, that's,
Yeah, Jennifer, for your benefit, you know, Chris mentioned before this capital spreadsheet at the beginning of the meeting. And you're seeing just one excerpt of where the issue is. So we have the town spreadsheet. The DPW has its spreadsheet. The school has its spreadsheet.
right,
And
fire
on and
department
on.
has theirs, I mean, it's out, yeah.
It's really not the way to do things, but it's the only way we could actually take a first universal salvo across all town needs. But it's gonna take some guidance and support and requirements to make it the spreadsheet versus the spreadsheets.
Sure, understood.
So, something for you to think about. I mean, you got a lot of priorities you gotta weigh.
Yeah, we just figured we'd add to them, that's all, I mean,
But historically, the DPW has been changed a lot because we've had so many DPW directors. We'll be able to line these up,
yeah,
Just hoping.
I think so.
yeah. Bill, you have a copy of ours, right? Should I send you ours?
I have that, and that's in the, our little.
It's in the
our little
folder,
thing,
yeah.
And then I have Kevin's stuff, I just have to pull it out, but rather than me pull it out, I'm just gonna call him with the list of
Yeah,
questions and we'll
okay.
bang it all out.
That's
that way.
good, all right. Good. All right, so anything else on truck 2
No,
at this point? The bridge road.
Well, the
go
note
ahead.
in here, new cab and chassis would be required to repurpose the existing frame-mounted sander. So, I take this to mean this is one of the trucks that has a stainless steel sander assembly, and they're gonna move this over to the new truck?
Correct.
so that's how I read that too, but that's in my own notes, I just didn't say it out loud, I wanna see what that means.
Yeah.
Because we spent a lot of money on 3 stainless steel beds a few years ago too. So,
And the assumption was they were movable.
Yeah, and they were supposed to defray the cost of the truck, but the price
the
didn't
trucks
go
went
down.
crazy. Okay, so I'll add that to public.
And whatever he's got, I mean, how did he come up with the two, I mean, I guess I'd like to see some kind of a bid or something that he's got.
Yes, so he did go to, so Madigan's would be providing the cab and chassis, and then he stated Advantage Truck would be the contractor that would be moving the existing dump body, which is not as old as the vehicle, onto the new
Okay,
purchased vehicle.
Okay.
yeah, because we usually like to see all that stuff, I mean, just to see, so we can kind of ask some questions on it. But, and just to,
So, Chris, from your notes, if I'm reading this right, the amount requested is 250K, the amount scheduled was 107?
that's what I saw on our schedule, yes.
Yeah, there were the 3 International Harvesters, the big trucks, I think were all slated at around 220. It should be in there.
Okay, I mean, you might be right.
That jump wouldn't surprise me.
That's
More than 100%.
more than 100% in 1 year is not likely. I won't say it's impossible.
Stuff is crazy right now, it's absolutely crazy.
I don't know if it was 1 year necessarily, Ray, so here's what I show in the capital spreadsheet, because that's what I mean, again, I was unscientifically, because I didn't go over this with Kevin, but I was just trying to match up with what some of the size trucks were in our schedule. And we're loading. This is,
So, I know one of the most recent DPW directors suggested used trucks, and I don't think we used those figures.
oh, that might have, I don't know.
There should be 220K line items in there.
All right, got the page. DPW. I've got one 220K line item. Everything else is, is one 203,000 line item for a international truck with plow. It's DPW 5.
That's it.
And then everything else is less than 100, I mean, less than 200.
So it's a $47,000
There's an international M1 DPW 12 that's 116,000.
Yeah, that's a small truck though.
That's all we have, and maybe we just don't have it. So I've got international here, I've got 110, I've got an international 7400, I've got 3 international 7400s.
Those are the 3 that are referenced here, I'm pretty sure.
And those are all at 107, 107, 110.
I guess we did update it from the last chief's suggestion that we go used.
Yeah, so that might be, so that just could be, that's ours. But they're in there, 2026 and 2028 are their dates.
So, Bill, if you can add to your list, what does he think about used versus new? Since the last chief was happy with used.
Prescott Street Bridge, I don't know anything about, I mean, that was the first time I saw that. So, I guess is this I would imagine it's a safety hazard, it sounds like it is.
Go over it every day. I haven't noticed that it was deteriorating.
Well, all right.
But I don't even understand why that's under DPW.
Yeah, is it the town's bridge? Do we
Nothing
have,
to do with the DPW.
well, I just wonder,
Streets and roads.
do we have purview? Is it MWRA maybe, or
Oh, DCR.
DCR, yeah.
Where is the bridge?
Prescott Street.
At the right next to the railroad tracks on Prescott, as you go down the hill, you hit the railroad tracks. Just before there is a bridge.
Is it over the tracks?
No,
No, I think it goes over like a
a culvert.
No,
kind of thing.
36
brook.
inch
Yeah.
tube.
So what, I mean, so I don't know, Jennifer, I know you're new here, but I mean, maybe the explanation to me kind of left me a little, like, is it, because I would think Chapter 90 money, or is there?
Sure, so from what I understand, this is a municipally owned bridge. There was an inspection report that rated the bridge a 4 out of 10, with 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. The culvert is separated within the structure, and so there is a lot of dirt that is going in, and it's in some significantly poor condition. The thought of the $150,000 was to design and fully permit the project, so that in February, the town could apply for a grant for the municipal small bridge program. They won't accept any applications without full permitting and full design. So that is the thought. It is concerning the condition of the bridge, I'll say that. This wasn't really on his radar until recently. So he was able to go out to a contractor quickly, knowing your deadline for submissions, and get a thought of what this might cost for the design and permitting work, and that's the $150,000. He was thinking that this could be ARPA funded. His thought was that with ARPA funds, we would be able to get the work started sooner than later in order to be in the best position to apply for that grant in February. I don't know if we waited until town meeting, if we would be in a position where we would not be able to also meet that deadline. You know, there's limited ARPA funds left, and there's a lot of asks for that remaining amount of money.
Do you have any experience with the small bridge program?
I do not, but I do have experience with grant writing. You know, he thought in talking to the folks that came up with that number, that they also felt that this was a prime candidate for that grant program.
So, okay, so I'm just going back to the support material, and I guess that's one of the things, and if you have anything that substantiates the $150,000 ask, that would be helpful.
I do not.
Yeah, because I'm only showing like 18 grand, and that includes easements and everything. So I'm just wondering if there, what else is in there that brings that up to 150? And I guess from our standpoint, I mean, what we'd like to know is, and I know it's early, but if we don't get that grant, what's that going to cost? And
He didn't even begin to have an estimate of what that would cost.
that would just be scary. I mean, that to me is, like, I can't even imagine what that's, because that's going to be a bridge replacement. I don't know. I don't know the span of the bridge or anything like that, or what goes into it.
I mean, I'm sure technically it's called a bridge, but it's not much more than a paved section of road over a culvert.
Mhm. Yep.
And $150K for the replacement, I might have said, yeah, okay, that sounds right. Yeah. $150 for the engineering, that sounds crazy.
That's also maybe just clarification. I mean, I've sent him an email too, but we'll see. Okay.
And do we know if there's any specific legal binding obligations? What are the consequences if the bridge just has to be taken out of commission, other than the annoyance of it?
Sure, so that would be the consequences, that the state could say that you need to take this bridge out, and then
Close the road.
and then you're having a detour point around that bridge.
Can we install a toll? No. One way to pay for it.
Get all the users to pay for it, that's good.
He did say, interestingly, I asked him what the traffic counts were, and they were higher than what I would expect. There's a little over 800 vehicles per day over that bridge.
Ray's
Actually-
going back and forth across it.
Yeah, I count for probably 2 to 4 of those a day.
It's right on the way to well, I
It's
mean,
very convenient
I don't know if we have
pathway.
teachers that teach in Sterling, because it's right on, Houghton Middle School's right on the
Yeah.
other side, and it's a good cut through if you don't wanna deal with Route 12, and, yeah, there you go, right?
Yeah.
Very scenic, peaceful, yeah.
Jen said that today, that's a cut through. I'm like, a cut through? How, I mean, there's not lights or anything on Route 12 or traffic that you'd want to avoid, but.
Yeah, but it's much prettier than Route 12, and it's shorter too, I think it's a short, I mean, you're not going 50 miles an hour like you can on Route 12, but it's a shorter.
Well, you're not supposed to. I think some people are in a hurry.
All right. Okay.
Jennifer, if I could ask, do we have an update on the round 2 ARPA money? Do we know when and where and how much? Do we have any info on that?
I do not, but I am happy to provide that to the
Yeah,
committee.
I can get that from Leslie, I'm sure I know she mentioned, I don't think she had heard a definite yet, but,
Yeah, she brought up that there was a round 2, but
yeah.
I haven't heard anything quantified. I really no idea what kind of time frame that's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, flail mower. I don't know what this is, I didn't see this on there. All I saw on on our list was a Ferris mower, so I don't know. This sounds like it's something different. It's part of an existing mower that needs a new attachment.
So is a flail a manufacturer or is it a kind of mower?
Kind of mower.
So it's an attachment to,
The new trackless.
yeah, it's attachment to the trackless is what it is.
It's an old,
It's a piece.
it's an old attachment to a new trackless.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what does it do? I mean, is it one of these things on an arm?
Yeah.
it just
it's right.
an extended
It's a side
bed?
thing, yes.
But they can use for taking down everything from small brush. It's not a lawnmower. It's not like a nice rotary blade. It's usually a heavy steel bar that spins and you don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
can get it off the ground too, so you
Yeah.
can go down a sidewalk and knock down brush like 4 to 6 feet high. Or go over a guardrail, and push brush back. on
I
the
thought that
sidewalk.
mower that they bought had the snorkel attachment.
I don't think so according to
Well,
this.
it had the snorkel, it just didn't have the attachment, I guess. That's,
Well, that'd be silly to get the snorkel and not have anything to put on it.
well, I don't know, well, I guess it's rigged for it, but I don't know. According to this, apparently not.
So I also seem to remember that the former chief wasn't in favor of it. He didn't think it was an appropriate attachment for that vehicle, and he was advocating for one that attached to the big cat, that had
Okay.
a lot more capability, a lot more extension, a lot more stable. I seem to remember him saying something about how stable it was. If you extend the arm, it might tip over. So,
So you adding that to your list there?
Yep,
Okay.
does anyone else remember this? Is it just
Yeah,
me?
vaguely.
but vaguely.
I don't, but that's all right. I have the trackless on here. I don't have anything about any kind of an attachment. So I guess the Ferris mower is something different,
Yes.
because I don't have any attachment or anything like that on his list, or on our list.
Okay.
But he's got that as a 1 as well, as far as priority. And I mean, if the connections are forward, there's no way we can just get new connection. I mean, it just seems, I don't know, I mean,
Well, I think we just need a lot better clarification. I think that would go a little ways with this.
significant downtime, I mean, because of poor connections.
Yeah, if we could get numbers on significant downtime, is that 2%, 20%, 80%? And if he does have any cost to back it up, it would be great.
Or if we don't have one, why do we now need one?
Well, it says we have one.
We have it.
the rigging it to work.
I think it's the old attachment to the old machine that we put on the new machine, probably to save money at the time, I don't know. But apparently it's not working right.
I got it.
And last but not least not last, second to last, the parking lot, which I think we talked about. ADA compliance. Where are we with our ADA review? Have you that's,
From my conversations with the interim town administrator, Jim Purcell, he got that project back on track again, but we are not at completion. So we don't have a final report from the Collins Center yet.
Is this for the playground we're talking
this
about?
for the
No,
whole, is all town buildings?
Correct. It was a town-wide assessment of kind of where we are with ADA compliance.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, so that's, all right, because that would be helpful, especially if we're doing something like this, just to make sure that we're.
Well, there's also got to be some interims, and we don't have to pave that entire area. We could gain, if there really is ADA compliance issues, we can gain compliance by paving 10% of it. So there's got to be alternate options there.
And he also talked about state funding. Oh, it was not approved.
I believe that he had requested this in a bond bill,
Yes.
and ultimately it didn't prevail in the final version of the bill. You know, the concern that I shared with him today as well is that, like you have all said, this is a pretty big ask on a building with an uncertain at best
Right.
future.
Yeah. Oof, all right. But there might be some MS4 consequences, well, anyways. Yeah.
And Jennifer, I would also note for your benefit, the FISP committee has also been taking stock of these things and figuring out whose purview that long-term design is, would be an interesting conversation as a minimum.
Okay.
On all these vehicles too, Bill, just make sure that we're getting some kind of a trade-in or something, or if there is, if that's a consideration. He does have some kind of a residual value down on most of these, but as we move to the last one, which is his vehicle, which I know was on the
Yeah,
schedule.
this was purposely bumped last year.
Yes, yep, nope, it was.
So the former town manager wanted him to purchase one vehicle, which he did not want to purchase.
Right.
He suggested moving this along to put it on this ask.
To let it come under the new town administrator's purview, so she can make the decision.
Well, the former town manager wanted him to purchase a pickup truck.
Which is what he has now, a
which
replacement.
It's covered in Band-Aids now, and he didn't want to purchase a pickup truck. He wanted to purchase a small SUV because he thought it'd be more versatile for what his needs are and the needs of the town.
Right.
So then it's back up again.
If I may,
Absolutely.
I think it's,
Counting on your input.
I think that it's not out of the ordinary for a DPW director to be driving a small SUV like a Ford Escape. You know, this vehicle does have some issues. However, he felt as though it could remain in the fleet as opposed to a trade-in. It does have some utility. Apparently, you cannot put a plow on it. It does not have that capability. But if another vehicle in the fleet were to go down for some maintenance, it could be a backup. It could be used to bring some materials for the cemetery or parks, you know, here and there. And so the thought was to have his vehicle be an addition to the fleet.
I guess my concern with that is that now we've added another vehicle to the fleet. And at some point, 3 years down the road, well, I mean, it's costing money now for repairs, it's out of service for repairs. Does 3 years down the road, does it all of a sudden now, oh, I wanna replace that pickup truck that used to be there, you know? And I guess that's where I get
That's a valid point.
a little, just, you know, if we take it out of inventory, fine, and make sure that it's not coming up, but I think what happens is they become reliant on that, and sometimes another, you know, person,
That's a very
it
good
just,
Very
I
valid.
don't wanna.
Yeah, Bill, and this is another one where I'd love to see the actual costs of the maintenance that they're complaining about.
Well, I mean, this one, we did see those last time around. I can ask for them again.
But
But-
we already agreed that this one needed to be replaced.
Yeah,
It was-
we did.
It was just the question of what it would be replaced with. He wanted a small SUV.
Right. I mean, we went through this and we did kind of sign off on it or give it our blessing. But Chris brings up a good point. Does it make more sense to trade it? We keep it, then you've got guys working on it, wasting time working on it, and then does it become a new line item?
Right, I agree with that. I'd
So-
like to see it just disappear.
So that's a good argument as well.
Because now it becomes the fleet.
But we welcome your input too on that. I mean, I just want to see how we can manage this best. And I know he's also got on here an interesting point with alludes to the sewer enterprise fund being a source of funds for this, and I'm just,
So, in
I'd-
terms of it being retained, he did say that for trade-in value, he was only going to be looking at about $3,000. If we sold it on Unibid, he felt as though it would be about $8,000 to $9,000. You know, I agree that if we're going to retain it, there needs to be the understanding that this is not an addition when there is no more useful life that we are selling it for scrap.
But that goes together with maintenance costs. If we know it's costing us $5,000 a year.
Well,
yeah.
that's the thing that's concerning, when you have a guy working on it for hours a week, when he could be doing something else. That's when we know we made a mistake.
Do we have a sense of why it's in such bad shape at 100,000 miles? Both of my cars has got 100,000 miles on them, and they do the maintenance, and there's no issues.
Yeah, all I can tell you is go down there and see some of these pieces of, I've showed you the pictures last year.
yep.
So what
They're
year,
work trucks, they just get pounded on.
and what year is it, do you know?
I'd have to go
It's
down.
a 2013.
Yeah,
So it's got,
9 years.
got
That's-
years
that's pre-
in.
That's
and
pretty good for municipal, I mean.
A lot of short hops instead of,
So it says they put a lot of miles on it, but this comes out to 10,000 miles a year. It's not a lot of miles.
No, not really.
oh, it's a lot of starts and stops, a lot of short trips.
Yeah.
Most vehicles don't like.
Okay.
I'd have a hard time arguing against the replacement. I do like your argument though, Chris. But,
Yeah.
what-
I mean, hope, and he's got 12 grand on here for a trade, so 3 to 8 all of a sudden is a big,
Part of me says just trade it.
yeah,
Where, oh,
yeah.
gotcha.
And
Yeah, I was
this
gonna
time-
say that $3,000 sounded like a crazy low number, considering the car dealerships are calling you, begging you to sell you their car.
It may just be that particular vendor, because they specialize
They know
in,
it, right? There's
in
a-
municipal vehicles.
Okay.
So they're just gonna wholesale it.
Yeah.
And make money on it.
Okay. And Kevin's last request, which is priority 2,
Right.
talks about, on the cemetery side, reconstruction of 7,600 square feet of cemetery road. I didn't see any bid in there for that, but I don't know how he came up with the number, but.
Well, don't we have a flat rate bid for putting down paving?
Not today. Especially with the cost of oil. I think that's gone through the roof. I mean, I don't know. I won't go there, but I just,
Yeah, I don't think I've
They did one section of paving this year, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We funded.
And
yep.
I'm wondering if this is, well, we got that, and let's do the next worst section, whether it's,
Here you go.
Yeah, it looks like there was a scan that didn't come through, so we only have one copy of it now.
Oh,
but all the-
okay.
The
Okay,
estimate
okay.
backups.
Oh, there it is, beautiful.
Yes, I remember asking them about this specifically next year, okay? Do you have an improvement plan? Are we gonna get hit with $40,000 every year? And I don't remember the answer. I thought he said, this is the only thing that was in really bad shape.
There's the bid. Anybody wants
I'd like
see
to
it?
see the, where it is on the map down there, so we could actually look at it, because the last one I looked at, it was actively breaking up, so I could really see that, but I don't know where this is.
So Bill, were you gonna ask him about this?
If you'd like, I can add that too. I mean,
Just,
I'd like to see it myself. I
Yeah.
know for a fact you can get a hell of a lot of time out of blacktop.
Yeah.
You don't replace blacktop unless it's the end of the world.
the last section
I mean,
that they replaced was
DPW is
actively
real,
breaking
real
up,
bad.
but, I don't know where this one is.
All right, so we want to find the spot, take some pictures,
I just,
get some more
And-
clarity.
they
And
have a
also,
map, they can just put it on their layout map, and
And is this something we need to
walk
add
down
to
there
our
all the time.
capital? Is this something we need to add to the capital fund, where we're gonna be looking at replacement of roadways in the cemetery on an ongoing basis? And how do we schedule that out, just so we can plan for it? I mean, that's what we're trying to do. I mean,
that's what we asked last year, and it wasn't a plan. There was this one section that was bad. Now I think they're finding, well, that worked, let's find another section that's bad. But where is it? And I'd like to walk it and take a look at it.
Get
well,
your-
Paul, since we don't have anything from town hall, you're welcome to join Bill
Anytime
and
you
Bill
wanna
in
go.
it.
Yeah, if you want to help me out,
That'd be-
maybe.
Do you want that bid, do you want that scan back? Yeah.
I can rescan.
Can you just shoot me a copy? Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
great.
I'll
I can-
rescan
Wanna
the
help
whole
me out
thing.
on this stuff?
Yeah, thank
I'll call
Sorry
or text
about
you.
that.
No, that's all right. No. You don't need to rescan the whole thing, Faye, just with that one. We get
Those are
plenty.
my notes.
The bid for the bridge is on the back on one of these sheets.
Oh, for the bridge as well? Because there was one, that was the whole three?
So it looks like
150?
the scan was,
In my
it was
mind.
double-sided, and so you're missing the back
Do it
side.
all on the phone.
Okay, that'd be great.
Like you
Thanks.
do it all.
Thanks, yeah. That'll help.
My mind, it's good to
Okay.
see this stuff.
I agree.
I'm thinking, we can talk about it, but I'm thinking,
I would guess you know those roadways pretty intimately as far as.
I do.
All right, so now on public safety, those are the other
I know nothing about any of this stuff.
requests. No, I wouldn't think you would, but I just want to, again, figuring out what additional questions do we need Mary or Pete, neither of whom are here, but we can certainly tell them what we need them. I did advise Mary, because when she told me she wasn't going to be able to make it, I said, well, I hope you looked in the portal, because you and Pete have a lot of work to do in the next week. So she said, no, I did study that pretty hard. So I said, good, that's good. So whatever questions we may have on some of these, I mean, a little bit, when I met with the chief, I can tell you, I mean, the car one, that's, again, going back, I know Tom put in for that, for the Maytown meeting, and we decided not, and he was all right with it, and not to fund it, that he would continue to drive that vehicle until his replacement came in, and then he could replace, choose his replacement. Probably, based on looking at the numbers, we probably should have let Tom replace it, because it was a lower, much lower. That's, I think, kind of what happens, but that said, 67.5. we scheduled 60, so. And unless anybody has any questions on that.
Yeah, we've been over this a few times.
Yeah, that was on our schedule to be,
So I guess I would question this upfit with the command center.
right.
I know we've talked about this before, but the question of how much of the existing equipment can be moved over or not. I'm assuming, since it's in here, the answer is it can't be, but it'd be good to confirm that. I
So,
assume this is radios and all that kind
I
of stuff.
think this helps it to be more of an emergency vehicle as well for.
correct. So the current chief's vehicle does not have any command center outfitting. The one piece that he thought may be able to be moved over from the current vehicle to the new vehicle would be the radios. But there is no command center to move over.
So he needs to get a new one, but that's included in the bid.
Correct,
So it's a replacement and an upgrade.
correct.
But it should help him do his job better, I would think, maybe with that additional.
Sorry for my ignorance, but what is a command center in the chief's car?
I don't know. Maybe Jennifer could tell us.
That is a good question. I know that when the chief is out on scene, that is where he is running the whole logistics from what that specifically entails. That would be a good question.
I don't know if it's a laptop that's mounted like in a police cruiser. I don't know what it is.
It's something in the back.
It is in the back. I know it's in the
I've
back.
seen it, you know, like they open up and I believe it's just like his desk in the back of the truck. Or SUV, rather.
Well, it's a pretty basic question. What is it?
Yeah.
I
If we
don't feel
could.
comfortable saying yes if I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Add that to the questions for Mary. Car one. All right, and then car two also got tossed into the fray, and I'm not really sure what car two was.
On the
Back
short
to-
sheet here, it's a 2008 Ford F-250 pickup truck.
Right.
Well, that's what my sheet says, but I'm not sure that that's
I think that's what it is too.
correct.
Quarter ton truck.
Why would we be moving it up on the schedule?
Well, that's it. It's scheduled for 3 years from now.
Well, he said it's got some issues.
It's also priority two, so.
Yeah,
I'd rather focus on the ambulance than that, but that's.
Well, the ambulance comes out of the ambulance fund,
Right.
Right.
Seats reserved.
so it's a different source of funds.
That's right too.
So, the limited information that I know about this vehicle that doesn't
point,
appear on
sorry.
your sheet is that this vehicle is used every day on every single call. So it's always going out, and it's also serving as a backup for the new forestry vehicle. He did say that he wants to, the goal would be to make this the Class 5 ambulance vehicle, which would mean that it does not provide transport, but would provide a paramedic and the necessary equipment that comes along with the paramedic to a public safety event. And other than what is on your sheet, I have no further information about that one. Again, only the radios would be coming over from the existing vehicle.
thanks.
But are there issues with the existing one that we know of? It'd
Yes.
just be nice to have a shinier one.
No, I think there were some.
It says
issues.
80,000 miles, so it's got low miles.
Very low mileage.
Let me see, I thought I had
He
something.
has some notes about the significant body repairs due to rust and corrosion. Currently needs extensive repairs. It is an '08, so.
So as far as notes that I guess we would hope for Pete and Mary to take care of, it's why is the priority changing, and what are the actual costs of the maintenance? Is there anything else we wanted to put on
No,
there?
that makes
Follow-up?
sense.
I know I met with him, let me just see if I had any notes.
It begs the question, why doesn't it run through a car wash?
You're gonna hear that as a recurring theme, 'cause we
Got
just
it.
don't
I think
understand.
that they usually do a pretty, I mean, the fire department usually does a pretty good job
Rusty town.
with cleaning their vehicles, I think.
But the ones that are
All
garage,
cars
yes,
are
but I think
all
these
in
stay
this-
outside.
This
Well,
town?
I mean, because the police department seems to do a pretty good job with washing their vehicles. I mean, they all seem to be
This
good.
vehicle was inside the garage when I was there last week.
Was,
Yep, in the back.
Hmm.
And I did walk by and notice that it was completely like bubble rusted all the way down the side, and I was like, Okay, I noted that, but.
I don't have any notes on, other than what we have here as to why this is being, requested in advance. Sorry, I probably should have asked that. Significant body repairs due to rust and corrosion, and currently needs extensive repairs. That's what's in there.
yeah.
So he's looking to move it up a year
Okay.
as a result of that, but we'll ask Mary and Pete to clarify. And lastly, I think, was the ambulance. And I believe,
Yeah, do you have any notes on how much is in the accrual account for this?
I can't find that. Fund balance. Might have to go out and have a couple, oh, it opened, wow, usually it takes forever to open. School.
Chris, Microsoft Surface, $199.
I know, I get it. I'm trying to update this computer today, and I'm like 2 hours, and I'm like, you know something? It just can't be updated. That's it. I'm like, I'm thinking Apple, but yeah, I think you're right with Ray. So we have to go. Pretty bad, and I'm sorry. Let's see, library fund balance. This is where we need Leslie, because she knows these things right off
Is
the.
this the July report you're looking for?
I got the July report here, yeah, but I'm just trying to, do you have it? No. Fund balance, I'm just trying to find for the ambulance. Wachusett.
We can just make it that we'll review the current accrual balance at the next meeting.
Yeah,
We don't have that right now.
that makes more sense, we really.
Okay. Yeah, and make sure that he's aware of where that comes from too. I'm pretty sure we went over that though in our meeting, and I thought, I remember talking about.
If we could just
one,
put that in for next meeting.
Because we're accruing for 2 ambulances at a time. It's just what the schedule is, so.
Yeah,
The accrual count should have more than enough for 1 ambulance since we're accruing for 2.
Yes.
yeah.
But we may
But
eat
where
into
is
the
it
balance for
in
the
the
other one.
cycle? So Leslie's probably the one that talked to on that, yeah.
It looks like, in the ambulance receipts fund, there's $651,411.
so it's plenty.
From the July report.
Yep.
Is this
What's
solely
it, what
in a
account is
capital-
that? What account is it, just so I know?
23-3300-2.
Oh, got it right here, yeah, ambulance receipts. Yep, thank you very much.
Now, is that ambulance receipts set aside for capital or ambulance receipts, period?
That looks like,
Good question.
They take something from that every year to a town meeting for,
Just offsetting the budget.
Operating budget.
yeah, we take a
to
piece of that
offset.
to offset something, and I can't think of what it is that it offsets. I'll
It's
check with
it's
Leslie.
just
check.
one of the funding sources.
Mhm.
I'll check with Leslie.
They usually take, what, 400 or 500 a year out of that for offsetting the operating budget?
I don't think it's that much, I think it's like
it was
3.
400
Might be
something.
three.
Actually,
Was
I
it?
had that conversation with Leslie today, and it's fluctuated. Sometimes it's been 300,
3
so
and
it's not
400.
really 400 every year. It just depends on the need.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, see if it's got a sufficient cushion for 375 this year.
Okay.
All right.
Chris, do you have the current dollar value for the capital fund balance?
I actually have that right at my fingertips. That's 1,208,698.30. Highlighted and everything. I should have highlighted ambulance too, but.
What was those numbers, Chris? 1,208,000?
208, 698.30. That was as of the end of July.
Thank you.
I don't think it changed, it wouldn't have changed in August. But it should not have.
Excellent.
So that's good, and I don't know, I'm sure you don't, Joe, your first day, where we are with, I hate to use this term, what's his name, one of the former selectmen will kill me, free cash certification for.
So, I understand that the free cash certification will be going into the state next week, and we should hear back numbers shortly there.
Shortly after, all right, so we don't really know what it is.
But was looking good.
Good, all right, that's all right,
The hand waving, I'm not putting out a number, good, huh?
I like that, looking good. All right.
So, Chris, if I might just interject something, I was looking at the revenue report,
Yep,
and I love what I see, but I would really like to understand it better. So estimated revenue at 26 million, actual revenue at 33 million, almost 34.
yep.
That's great. That's one of those problems you love to have, but why? I haven't specifically looked at this report before, so that might be a characteristic imbalance that we see each year, but that's a big number. That's $7 million differential. And I know we bank on that, so we're driving monies to free cash and other things, but I'd really like to understand if this is unusually large or this is typical.
Okay.
Good question. I don't have the answer.
But thank you for sending it, Chris. That's a great number to have.
Yeah. I would imagine probably for last year, there's probably some ARPA money in there too, which is coming, I think that comes through our operations, even though,
That should live outside in its own fund. So, but I'll get with Leslie to better understand that figure so that I can provide that to y'all.
Okay, interesting.
As we have asked years past, we had 2+ million in free cash at one point, and we're looking to get a detailing on that, and I don't know that we actually got that information.
I don't think so.
So, and I'm sure these two pieces of information go together in some fashion.
yeah, I don't think there's, I mean, yeah, I know I've talked to Leslie about, I mean, I know budgeting wise, they're always a little over, but just because of the whole
course.
health insurance thing, and you just don't know where, I mean, that's probably the biggest driver, is you just don't know where that's gonna land.
Right, absolutely.
But
But,
we've had some very significant ones. I know there was some extra funds due to COVID, where expenses dropped
Yeah.
fairly dramatically, but,
but that shouldn't be in
In
this
the
fiscal year.
right.
Well,
It
maybe
should be on the
not
revenue
much.
side.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be on the revenue side, good point.
Yeah,
But, with what you're saying, Chris, I buy it. If it were 29 versus 27, I'd say, okay, a couple $1 million, safety margin, great.
so you're looking at what, June 30th then?
This is one you circulated. It is July 21st. Yeah, it's probably the June 30th report. I just printed the last page because that really caught my eye.
Right, yeah, because the one I'm looking at, the July report is just year-to-date, just 1 month. That's all I've got. All right, we can ask Leslie where we are.
So, Chris, were you gonna pursue that,
Yeah,
or
I'll follow up
would
with
we
it.
ask
Yeah,
Jennifer
that's
to do
fine.
that?
I can follow, I'll follow, well, I welcome the opportunity to
They're all, come from the same place.
try to get a better understanding.
That's weird.
But you're welcome to do it too, Jennifer. I don't want to take away the fun, so I mean,
I'm gonna guess Jennifer's ears perked up when she saw that differential, so. Again, a good problem to have.
so that's, for the capital stuff, that's all we have. I don't know, I know that, again, I just wanted to, I put a little footnote at the bottom of that little schedule there, because there's nothing from the library or the schools, I didn't see anything from
Right.
them, so I guess we'll, and I reached out to Tom, not to Tom, Roger, at the schools, just to see if he had anything on the green vans or on the, and I just haven't heard anything, so,
Well, he said they were gonna come back for the boiler,
yeah.
so I assume as a minimum, there should be a boiler conversation. I don't know if they ran that through the green energy program.
Don't know, I never heard, I mean, I did reach out and I never heard back, so.
So, I did see today on a list of potential ARPA projects that there was a boiler on there, and I did question
Right.
why I didn't see that for you folks here this evening. And that was just of Leslie, so, I can certainly follow up with the schools to make sure.
So just so you know, I mean, what we did last year was we had that discussion with them and then said, well, have you thought about green communities? For at least a portion of it. I think it was the green
Sure.
communities.
Yeah.
And they were gonna follow up and submit a request for that grant. Don't know where that is. I don't know if the window hasn't closed yet for that or what. I don't, or they don't hear back till the end of September, but, and it's unlikely that would fund all of it. I mean, I think, based on the, estimate they had, I think it was a couple $100,000, so.
Right, so in my mind, even if they weren't looking for the capital investment fund, but they were looking for a grant source, right, we would want that tracked
Right.
somehow, so that
Right.
we know, either we're gonna put capital investment funds towards it and hope that the grant comes in and then free up those funds again.
Right.
But as long as it's living somewhere, so we know.
Yeah, and that's the short-term stuff for the school. I mean, the other, I'm sure you're aware of where they are with
$15 million needs, yeah.
plus, yeah, that's just the beginning, so that's gonna be the other, maybe it's just gonna all come to us at once. But I don't know. Just know that they were, I know, I think, one of the select board, members reached out to me to see where these things stood, so back in, I think, July, and I forwarded to the folks at the schools, and I just haven't heard anything, so.
Yeah, Jennifer, for your benefit, I'm not sure how you've handled the green community funding where you've been, but your predecessor, Nancy, had been basically personally tying all the pieces together and putting those submissions in. I don't know if the interim town admin has looked at that, but that requires a lot of stewardship and organization that I'm not sure has continued. Faye, you're shaking your head some.
So the Green Communities grant projects that we are wrapping up are just wrapped up. Unfortunately, we didn't meet the deadline with some of the projects, so that didn't allow us to apply for the October grant round, but we will be eligible for the spring grant round.
Okay, so the schools will find out the answer is no.
Well, not for October.
Yeah.
So, but they might be eligible for the spring.
Do we know why we didn't make the deadline?
There were some projects that just weren't able to come through.
Meaning the projects weren't finished?
Correct.
Okay. And the library has, and we've still got this boiler thing out there, and she's got a list of capital, and she's usually on time.
She might not have, I mean, but again, this is off-season, Ray, keep in mind. I mean, usually we're doing capital in the Springtown meeting is the way we've traditionally tried to stack everything, just because we have more time to review things and.
Right. That's what I was gonna ask, when are we meeting next? What's our next meeting schedule?
So, that's a good question, and that's on the agenda, we can, skip down, I mean, I guess no need to go over the town accountant reports at this point, cause it's only 1 month, so, other than what Ray already did, so we can ask that question, so that'll placate our review. So, I did circulate the, schedule for the upcoming town meeting.
Right.
So as far as I know, they had provided us with a kind of a draft of the warrant items that she saw coming. I mean, I know that was an open draft, it was not the final,
I don't think much has changed on
which
that.
has changed,
No.
okay. So that kind of gives us an idea, as to what's on there for our interest. I guess the articles have all been presented to the board, is that true?
The list has.
The list has, okay,
At the September 21st meeting, they'll be voting to approve the warrant.
okay. September 21st is the final review.
Is that a joint meeting with the FinCom?
That is a joint meeting with the FinCom. So,
When is that?
September 21st? So I guess if we could have a meeting maybe before that, even if we just do a Zoom meeting, just to kind of get an update as to where we are on some of these questions, because I think we'd want to have recommendations for the select board.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not that far away.
It's not that far away at all, that's why we try to do this in the springtime.
It's the 12th, yeah.
Today's the
9
12th.
days.
It's only 9 days away.
And I'm out of town, so, on the 21st, so hopefully you guys clear your schedules and we can get, I don't know if Pete's back by then, I thought he would be, but I'm not sure. Paul's the vice chair, so we can have him go, but I mean, this is, so I'd like to get some information back, and we need at least a meeting so we can meet and vote.
Yeah.
Well,
What time? on the
Mondays are
21st?
generally best for me.
Mondays are best for you?
Next Monday?
I never know.
19?
Yeah, it would be the 19th.
10?
No, I'm on a flight the 19th.
What time on the 21st? Right, do you know? Joint with the,
Normally their meetings start around 6, and we don't know where we are
Six
in that.
is usually when they start that meeting, but I think typically that meeting's devoted pretty much entirely to the warrant, I think.
Well,
Maybe it comes at the
there've been
end.
times where it's been an
Yeah.
hour
Get bounced to the
before they
end.
get to it.
So you don't want to meet next Monday, the 19th?
I mean, well, I mean, I can't, I'm not, I'm out all next week, so, out of commission, not meeting. I can't even do telephonically, unfortunately, on Monday, at that hour. If we wanted to, if we thought we'd have everything but Friday, I don't know, if we wanted to do a Friday.
I'm not available Friday.
it'll never happen.
Yeah, Friday's a tough night.
Okay.
And Thursday, I guess Thursday is legally possible if we post it first thing tomorrow, right?
Right, we could do that.
Yeah,
You guys
I
look
think
for
I can do
Thursday.
Thursday.
I cannot.
You
I have a
can't?
meeting every night this week. Next Monday I'm free.
Well, you guys, I mean, we can get the information out there, if you guys wanna meet Monday, that's fine. I
Well,
just
what
think-
what I'd like to do is clean up these notes and send them to Kev. And I was hoping to meet him next Tuesday, but it's Tuesday I'm free, but I think that's too far away, so. Let me clean up these notes, send them to Kev, and maybe I can meet Kev with Paul early in the morning. Thinking Thursday, I have to look at my calendar. And then, maybe we could at least talk Monday. Just kinda go over some of the stuff, clean it up. more sense?
Chris,
Hey, Chris is out,
Was-
I'm asking you guys.
oh, you said Thursday,
Um,
you're gone already?
What's that?
Thursday, you're gone already?
I'm here Thursday.
Well, do you want me to try to clean things up for
Friday.
Thursday
Yeah,
and
I'm here
then?
Thursday,
Yep,
Friday.
Thursday morning would work, I'm headed for Maine in the
Sometimes
afternoon.
have purchase of, but.
Well, that wouldn't be good, because then we can't relay the notes, because I'm not gonna be here Thursday night.
Mr. Chairman, you know, I just conferred with Fay because I wasn't sure how the warrant actually is printed in this community. So the details of the project will not be on the face of the warrant, they'd be in the motion. So there, you know, the approval of the warrant is kind of gonna be that open placeholder for all capital projects. So it would not be imperative that you meet prior to the September 21st meeting to make formal recommendations on specific projects.
Right, but I don't think we're really just talking about the capital. Yes, we're,
Yeah,
we
okay.
understand that, but all of the other warrant items, if we had something to weigh in on, we need to have talked about it before then.
So, are you talking about just in terms of making your recommendations to town meeting? Or just?
Yeah, we don't need to
either-
do that.
Right, because you could, the
Right.
warrant could go as the vehicle, and then you could make your recommendations after the fact.
Well, if we're gonna be in a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen and the topic is approval of the warrant, if we have anything to weigh in on any of the articles, that would be when we would do it. And normally we don't have much because it's.
But no, we don't have much, but it would make sense if we collectively knew what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's all.
The background material for the warrant, would it be available on Thursday? Do you know? Or by Thursday, I should say?
Probably not in reality, probably not. On some, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a stretch.
All right, so we'd have to take that in real time at
Well-
the meeting.
Okay. So it's not imperative then?
So it's not imperative that we have our recommendations by next Wednesday on
Well-
capital.
And you said you're not here on the 21st, you're gone the whole week.
Right. Right. I mean, I could possibly call in Tuesday night if that was, but that'd be a call in.
Maybe Thursday night for convenience is a preferred night. We don't have Chris all of next week.
Okay. You can call in?
I can call in on Thursday night, I'll be in Maine.
Thursday night, want me to put one together?
We can try. I mean, Mary's been pretty regular, and Pete's been pretty regular, so
So we can
we
put
may
it
have a
as-
I
quorum.
don't think Pete's, I don't think Pete's around.
Oh, you think he's still gone?
Yeah, he's still gone, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll certainly get you the backup on the articles that we can get you the backup on.
I mean, I don't think there's that much. I mean,
It's not a, it's not a heavy,
I'm looking at the one is the reports, pay bills, adjustments to the 2023 budget. I think there was some issues with the fire department salaries or something, right?
Yeah, the non-exempt employees didn't, they weren't included in that bylaw.
Right, so there's really nothing. Classification of comp plan to provide non-exempt emergency fire and medical employees cost of living pay increase. I mean, that's kind of standard. Commonwealth Transportation Infrastructure Fund.
that's the ride sharing for Uber and Lyft.
Okay. And then capital purchases, that's the CIB fund, so we're not voting on that. Replacement ambulance, that's it. OPEB, fund the OPEB account. The opioid settlement account, appropriate funds to the opioid settlement account, so that's a good thing, right? That's kind of
That,
not a good thing.
there, so this is to create a fund for the settlement figures to flow into. There may be a legislative fix, so that we don't need to do this. So, the accountant thinks that this is perhaps premature for an article, but this was here cut to make sure that people were, cognizant of the need for some way to handle these funds separately.
We have the CPA, Community Preservation
I
Act
see, yeah.
funds, as they wanna, because I know that, I think the Housing Authority, the Housing Trust Fund has something in there, as well as maybe some others. Appropriate funds to reduce the tax rate? Oh my goodness.
It's from the marijuana monies, right?
Cannabis money.
Yep.
And then transfer funds to the Capital Investment Fund, Stabilization Fund, and then the Commission on Disability bylaw, whatever that is, I don't know.
It, ticketing for,
Oh, that's the, yeah, so you can take the handicap tickets, those that violate handicap parking. And that's it, right? You know, so it's really not.
Pretty light
Yeah.
load.
Do we need to schedule? I mean,
And it's really your call. When do you want to go over all the information that we're collecting?
all the capital stuff.
Yeah.
That's the biggest. So what, do you, you don't have any idea when the select board is looking for, they would, I'm sure, like to have it before they publish the warrant?
for their recommendations. Have they indicated to you?
No, they haven't indicated that, but I'm assuming maybe for their next meeting.
For their recommendations on the particulars?
On the capital. Are they meeting Wednesday?
Wednesday, the 21st, yeah. Not
No,
this Wednesday.
they're not
no.
meeting this Wednesday. Who's the chair? Ross is the chair?
I'm happy to reach out
Maybe
to
I can
the
reach
chair.
out to,
Yeah,
yeah. all right.
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I could, yeah, just to see what, I mean, Raj may not, probably call Pat too, just get an idea. Monday's the best night to meet?
No, it is for me, but I can do other nights. It just needs to be a little later.
How about you guys?
Don't go
Monday.
don't go by me. You just tell
Don't
me.
go by, don't go by you.
Just tell me.
Well, I mean, maybe what we can do is try to get a Zoom the next time. I'm just trying to, for availability
That's easier.
purposes, and even if you just call in for a couple minutes, Bill, I mean, just to get us. Because I think you have, unfortunately, you're carrying a lot,
Yeah, I just
Okay.
gotta figure out when I can get some answers.
yeah. Well, I've got an email out to Kevin as well. I'll just reiterate to him the importance of getting that information as soon as possible.
Gotcha, okay.
And, you wanna shoot for the, 26th?
Sure, I'll put it in right now.
Next meeting, 9:26.
So you're gonna Zoom?
I think we'll try that, just because I think we might get more of a participation. I mean, might be able to get more participation. I get you guys comfortable, because we're not inviting anybody to these, so, other
And
than ourselves.
You gonna circulate an Outlook invite?
And hopefully it'll be right.
I'll send you that, Zoom.
Okay.
Oh, that would be great, yeah, okay, oh, yeah. I forgot, you're here, you're right here.
Yeah.
Quick, lock it up now before somebody
I
else
just checked,
does.
it's open.
It's open,
Did I
thank
hear a
you.
motion she should attend every FinCom meeting?
That's right, yeah.
Very busy.
Not Mondays, not Mondays.
No, I'm happy to be included in the process and see how you guys operate, so.
Well, we appreciate both of you coming today,
Yeah,
we really,
it's great.
really do. It's huge, and just, you can understand our process a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, any other business?
Hearing none?
All right, is that a motion, Bill?
Second,
adjourn?
I'll second my own motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so moved. Thanks so much.